why I did. I just wrote with how I was going, but I broke this teaching down into two parts. The first part being the diagnosis. So if you want to follow me by writing it down, that's fine. The first part I want to deal with is going to be the diagnosis. The second part is going to be called the remedy. So tonight, the first part, I'm really going to deal with the diagnosis because when we're talking about mental illness, as I said, I was asked to teach this, and the specific instructions that was asked of me was to teach it by the Spirit of God. So quite naturally, I went before God and positioned myself to receive what He would reveal as far as mental illness. Amen. So I wasn't surprised that it was asked to be taught by the Spirit of God because that's the only thing that's going to work. I can remember a time, and I'm sure this because revealing a certain element of my life, or this is how I've always operated. I've always operated according to how God would train me to do things, whether personally, business, or naturally. And I can recall a time where Mother Bear and myself and someone else, we had went to the bank, and we had took Mother Bear to the bank. She was going there to open up her business account, things of this nature. And it got to a point to where the lady was talking to her about when you get paid by check. And the lady was introducing her all kinds of methods that they had in case you get a bad check, da-da-da-da-da-da. So I just blurted out, I said, well, I have my own check system. And the banker was like, what is your check system? I said, well, if I get a bad check, I go straight to the DA office and I don't deal with it no more. Give me a bad check, they're going to handle it. And the lady said, well, Mr. Berry, he seemed to have his own little system that works. So if you want to go with his system, you can go with his system, or you can go with our system. But my point is, 99% of the things that I've learned by God. So tonight I'm going to share how to deal with mental illness, or should I say how I've dealt with mental illness. Another thing I want to share with you, and I don't mind sharing this because this can help somebody, if not everybody. I want to explain something to you before I start teaching. When a man, never thought I'd talk about this, but talk about mental illness, Jesus. When a man is touched, or molested, or raped, or whatever the case may be, this opens this man up to everything on the homosexual side, whether it's thoughts, actions, feelings for another man, whatever the case may be. When this happens in this man's life, this man, he wasn't born this way. He didn't come into the world messed up or this kind of way. But when this type of thing happens to a man, this opens him up to everything pertaining to the life of homosexuality. If that man does not have the proper help to help him get through this traumatic thing that he has gone through, then there's a strong chance that this man will end up being a homosexual, simply because he's been exposed to the homosexual tendencies. His manhood or his male bonding within himself has been broken. So now that he's been broken in the man kind of way, he's not only open to the female side, but is more prone now to the man side. So this man has to deal with, and I'm sharing this for a reason, this man has to deal with a certain level of trauma. So tonight, I'm sharing that because I don't want you to think that what I'm teaching is from a single-sided point of view. Everybody in here has gone through something, and because everybody in here has gone through something, tonight is going to be my aim to kind of show you how I've been successfully able to deal with the trauma. Amen? So, tonight, if I had to go with a title, it's going to be called My Splinter.
Everybody know what a splinter is? Anybody ever had a splinter? They can be very painful. Not only can they be painful, but they can be very what? Aggravating, right? First thing I want you to understand tonight is the Bible says in Proverbs 4:7, if you want to write it down right now, the Bible says that in all thy getting, get an understanding. Tonight is going to be my aim to show you an understanding of how to deal with, I don't want to say mental illness because it's more of on the trauma side. So tonight is going to be my aim to show you how I've successfully been able to deal with trauma. How he has taught me how to deal with trauma, or should I say the secret that I've learned how to deal with trauma. But my first question is this, and I want to get a little engaging because if you don't know, if you don't have the right understanding, then that's what tonight is all about. But this is my first question. In your words, what is mental illness? Anybody? What is, in your terminology or in your understanding, and I don't believe nobody will have a right and wrong answer because everybody has been through their own ordeal and has classified it in their own understanding, but in your words, what is mental illness? Anybody? What you got?
Dealing with things in the mind that causes you to deal with things differently than other people normally do in their mind.
Okay. Anybody else? Be scared to talk. Because everybody that God has sent here has gone through something, has been through some type of situation. But tonight we're going to try to, by the Spirit of God, tonight we're going to try to take the sting out of that situation. Anybody else? What is mental illness? Or does anybody else have their own words of what is mental illness? Anybody? To see everything different from other people. Anybody else? What you got?
When the mind snaps.
When the mind snaps. Anybody else? Write this down. Mental illness is anything that produces fruit that is contrary to Genesis 2:9. 2:7. And James 1:17. Somebody pull those two verses up. Mental illness is anything that produces fruit contrary to Genesis 2:7 and James 1:17. Everybody knows what the word contrary means, right? What does the word contrary mean? The opposite, that is correct. So mental illness is anything that produces fruit that is opposite of Genesis 2:7, James 1:17. Somebody read Genesis 2:7.
And the Lord God formed the man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul.
Correct. James 1:17. What did that say? Anybody?
Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights.
Exactly. Every good and perfect gift comes from God. So I need you to first understand that when God blew into Adam, there was no mental illness present. I need you to understand that. When God blew into Adam, there was no spiritual or no mental illness present. Now, mental illness is a direct result, and you're going to learn how later, but mental illness is a direct result of Genesis 3:6. Does anybody know what that says? What happened in Genesis 3:6? Anybody? What happened in Genesis 3:6? 6. Somebody read that.
But when the woman saw that the tree was good for food,
Mm-hmm.
that is what pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desirable to make one wise. She took of its fruit and ate. She also gave to her husband with her, and ate, and he ate.
Right. That's where mental illness started. You understand shortly what I'm saying, but that's where it all started right there. You see, when Adam bit off of that fruit, the condition of the mind changed. But this is the first thing that I want to ask. Scientists and doctors, they study the brain for eons and millions of years and blah, 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 blah. And they've all been able to determine certain parts of the brain controls this and certain parts of the brain controls that. But my question is, how are they able to determine that? How? If I'm not being graphic, but if I was to cut open or bring before you right now a human brain, and that brain was functioning, how am I visually able to tell what part of the brain controls what? How are they able to tell that? And I'm going somewhere with this. You're going to learn something tonight. How are they able to tell that? Or should I say, are they able to tell that from how they can visually see the human brain? Or are they able to tell that from the actions of the brain? You see, I did a study, I taught on this a while back. I did a study, and there is nothing in the human brain that dictates or as you can visually see what happens or what controls what. In other words, what I'm saying is the brain don't have written areas, okay, this part controls here. There's nothing written in the brain in that. So how are they able to tell what controls what? Which brings me to my next question. What is the difference between the brain and the mind? Oh, they're writing notes. That's good. What's the difference between the brain and the mind?
Brain is just a word, so the mind is functional.
That is correct. Anybody else? One is natural and one is spiritual. That is correct. Anybody else? See, the thing that you have to understand about, the first thing that you have to understand about mental illness is this. And if you want to write this down, put it in your notebook, wherever it may be. When something happens to you or when a human being goes through some type of traumatic experience, the physical part of the brain itself is not damaged. The part of the brain, I should say, the part of the mind that's damaged, because you have to understand, the brain is just, as we just learned, the brain is just an organ that does a job. But the spiritual side or the unseen side of the operation of the brain is what's more important. Are you following what I'm trying to tell you? So in other words, when something happens to a person traumatically, the physical part of their brain is not damaged. It's that spiritual element or that spiritual capacity of that area of their brain that's destroyed or that's gotten messed up or hindered. Am I making sense? Did anybody understand what I'm saying? Oh, they look like, I don't know. What am I saying? Anybody? Not within the physical part of the brain. So you have to understand, that's good. The brain is controlled by the mind. The brain is the natural side. The mind is the spiritual side, right? The mind is the unseen side. So when something happens when a person goes through a traumatic situation or a traumatic experience, the brain itself is not messed up. It's that unseen side of the mind in that area that's messed up. Let's put it to the text. How many in here, we've all in here gone through a traumatic situation or a traumatic experience, right? Put it to the text. If you was to go to an emergency room right now, and they open up, I ain't trying to be graphic, but they did an incision to open up your mind, would they be able to physically see in your brain that traumatic experience? Would they be able to see it? Why? it was supernatural. Anybody else? She said they messed up the mind. That's a good way to put it. They messed up the mindset and not the brain itself. That's exactly true. So what am I saying? What is, now that you have a better understanding, what is mental illness? A messed up mindset. Anybody else? It's not a whole messed up mindset. It's just messed up what? In that area. You see, when a man, like I said, when a man goes through something, his whole entire mind is not messed up. It's just that area that becomes damaged. And that's where the mental illness comes from. That's where the thoughts and the actions and blah, blah, blah. That's where all that comes from, because that specific area of his mind has been damaged. But it's not the brain itself, it's the mind. And I know I'm saying it over and over, but I'm trying to get you to stay on the more of the spiritual side versus the natural side. Because see, when you're trying to deal with mental illness, now don't get me wrong, I gotta say this, don't get me wrong. I know doctors and psychologists and blah, blah, blah. I know they do all that they can to help you get through it, or to ease your burden, or to bring a little light to the situation. But ask yourself, have you ever gone through something, and doctors, psychologists, whatever they may be, and they actually 100% cured what you've gone through? Has it been 100% put to bed, put to rest? How many times has that happened? Somebody give me Ephesians 4:23. Now take it away from what doctors and psychologists and all that do. They have, doctorate degrees and all that. But I'm simply trying to roll with how God has taught me how to deal with mental illness. Because if you don't properly know how to deal with mental, especially when you're talking about walking with God, there's a strong chance that issue or that mental illness or that depression, that scenario, that trauma, there's a strong chance that the trauma is going to continue to play in your life because you have never been taught how to deal with it. You can go to the doctor and they're going to give you medicine, they're going to sit you down and think it's going to put you under the couch and on top. I need to be able to get this over with. I need to be able to get this done. I need to be able to move past this. I need to know how to deal with this successfully without having to say, okay, I came to see you and you gave me 4 or 5 different pills and I need to know how to do this. 4 and 23. What does that say?
And be renewed by the spirit of your mind.
Read that again.
And be renewed by the spirit of your mind.
So that tells me we need to get away from the natural side of trying to deal with the natural side and deal with it from the spiritual side. I say I know doctors got 8 degrees and went the hours and I get all that. But if you can't help me get through this successfully, or if the only way that I get through this is if I come sit on your couch for 4 or 5 hours, but what happens when I gotta get up off? I can't live on your couch. And I can't live on these pills that you give me, so I need a way to get past this. I need a way to deal with this because this is in my life, right? Now, let's go to 1 Peter. Many, if you want to write this down, write this down. There are many in the body of Christ. There are many in here right now that's still dealing with the aftermath of the trauma. What is the aftermath? The aftermath are the effects that the trauma still brings to your life. The aftermath. Many are still dealing with the aftermath and don't know how to deal with the aftermath. What's the aftermath? The anger, the rage, the tears, the messed up mindsets, the messed up heart. Many are still dealing with the aftermath of the trauma. And until you understand or until we learn how to deal with the aftermath, then you'll never get past the trauma. Once you understand how to deal with the aftermath, then you'll successfully be able to get past this place in your life. But if you're still dealing with the aftermath, the 9 out of 10, you probably have never been taught really how to get past it. But tonight, by the Holy Ghost, we're going to show you. Somebody get me now that we've talked about the diagnosis. Now we know what the problem is, right? What's the problem? The mind, right? We know the problem ain't the brain. We know the problem is the mind. We know the problem is the spiritual side, right? So now that we know what the problem is, let's deal with the diagnosis. Somebody give me 1 Peter 1 and 23. Somebody give me 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. 1 Peter 1 and 23. Somebody give me 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. Let's talk about a remedy now. Let's see if we can successfully find a way to deal with the aftermath. Because if you can find a way to deal with the aftermath, then I promise you, this problem is going to end. Now, I'm going to say it's going to disappear. You understand what I'm saying, Charlotte? I'm not going to tell you it's going to disappear, but it's going to end. We're going to try to put an end to the problem. Now, I'm going to tell you it's going to disappear, though. Because if I was standing and tell you that it disappeared, I would be lying to you. I still know what I've been through. And because I know what I've been through, what is that saying? It ain't disappeared. But it's in the bed or it's in the grave. It ain't bothers me no more. And that's the whole point of what I'm trying to, the whole place I'm trying to bring you to tonight. To where what? It bothers you no more. What 1 Peter 1 and 23 say?
Being born again, not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible, by the word of God, which liveth and abideth forever.
Read it one more time.
Being born again, not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible, by the word of God, which liveth and abideth forever.
Right. Now, 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. What does that say?
Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away.
Right.
Behold, all things are become new.
My question is this. What does it really mean to be born again? What does it really mean to be born again? You know, Nicodemus brought this to Jesus. He said, a man 35 years old is perfect. Can't go back in his mother's womb if he wanted. So what does it really mean to be born again? And if you don't know, then that could be a part of the problem why you can't get past your trauma. And it's just being honest. What does it really mean to be really born again? Anybody? What does it mean? He said be baptized. Anybody else? Don't go back to the same thing that God brought you out of. Anybody else? A lifestyle change. Anybody else? Spiritually renewed. Anybody else? When you got born again, because a lot of times people don't really explain it. Let me explain it so that you'll know. Because you got to know in order to deal with the aftermath. When a person gets born again, what happens is there is supposed to be a supernatural transition or a supernatural encounter that happens when you get born again. Born again is not just about human emotions. We cry. When you truly get born again, there's supposed to be some type of deposit, that is transferred from the supernatural realm physically into your body. You become, at that point, a new creature. Something in you changes when you become born again. There is a deposit or as the Bible said, there is a supernatural baby that is deposited down in your spirit. And as you begin to walk with Christ, I'm saying this so that you can understand what I'm getting ready to say shortly. And as you begin to walk with Christ and begin to learn about God and His ways, that baby or that spiritual deposit that has been deposited in you, it does what? It begins to what? It begins to grow. But the thing that you have to grab a hold to is when you become born again, that's deposited in you, that's the real you. That's the you that God had intended for you to be before the foundation of the world. Good. That's a whole other teaching, but what's deposited in you at that time is the real you, the eternal you. The you that's supposed to be making the decisions and the choices and blah, blah, blah. The you that's supposed to be being consumed by His word and having to connect the real you. So when we really get born again, it goes past this, I heard a good word, I want to get saved, I went to the altar. That no, when you really become born again, see, that's the part that you have to catch. When you really become born again, then that means, or that's supposed to mean, there is a new creature that has come up. And the whole part, or the whole point of walking with God is to raise up that new creature and to put that old man to death. But if you have really not been truly born again, I would suggest if you're really trying to get past some mental illness, or if you're really trying to get past it, the secret that I'm getting ready to reveal, unless you truly have been born again, it's going to be very difficult. Why? Because that's going to be the key to you being able to get past it. See, trying to deal with mental illness, or trying to deal with a traumatic experience without God is. And when I say without God, I'm not talking about, because we can know the scriptures. I promise you, all day long. I can know Genesis and Revelation. But if I don't have God down in me, then there's no way that I could have gotten past and keeping that part dead what I've gone through. There's no way possible. So I'm trying to get you to understand. I'm finna give you a secret as to how to deal with it. But if you have not really truly been born again, then I would suggest that's really where you start. Because you can walk out here tonight, man, he really showed me how to blah, blah, blah. I learned, I got some information, blah, blah. But what's going to happen when it's time for you to put the information to work? What's going to happen when it's time for you to implement that information? I'm trying to tell you, you're going to have God to make this trick. That I ain't going to really say trick, this is the truth. You're going to have God to make this work. I promise, because without God, now give me Colossians 3 and 9. Colossians 3 and 9. You see, it's my job tonight to get you to understand, now that you know what mental illness is. Mental illness is nothing more than a traumatic experience that we've gone through in our life, and some of us have gone through experience after experience. And that's okay. Because nothing, the Bible literally says all power is subject to what? To the higher power. So I don't care what you've gone through, and I'm not belittling what you've gone through. I'm saying I don't care what you've gone through, because I know what I'm getting ready to say. It works. Trust me. From experience, it works. You know what I mean? Men out there, and I can only speak from a man's point of view because I know. You know what I mean? Men out there, they could have been properly taught how to deal with their traumatic experience as far as rape and other. You know what I mean? If men could have steered on the right path versus becoming a homosexual. But if nobody knows, if nobody teaches you, when that messes up that part of your mind, you messed up. And until somebody finds a way to help me, then I'm messed up. So I really thank God for allowing to show me how to really deal with that. Because that could have been something that could have ultimately changed the full course of my life for real. I could have been, out there homosexual, could have been down that road. But what Colossians 3 and 9 said?
Lie not one to another, seeing that ye have put off the old man with his deeds.
See, that old man is the man that have gone through the trial. that new man have gone through the trauma. That new man is the one that God is trying to bring up. But we don't want to put that old man down. See, if you can understand the real you that God is trying to bring up, then you can understand, or it'll come to you without even having come to the. And I learned this, I realized this a long time ago. If I really let God raise up Steve in the way that Steve needs to be raised up, I have a way of escape from these thoughts and trauma and issues and blah, blah, blah. I have a way out. But if I don't, nobody help me. The road to homosexuality is going to take me out. Because I've been exposed to it. That part of my mind that was intact has now been messed up. So I don't have no control. I don't have no control over what I'm getting ready to do. Why? Because that part of my mind that once had control is now what? It's now messed up. So now that part of my mind is now messed up, if I don't find a way out, then just as I see every other fella that's going through this, how they turn out, I'm going to be the same way. And I was like, I refuse to go down that road. I promise you. So, as I get ready to close, because now that we know the diagnosis, now I'm going to help you understand the remedy. As I get ready to close, I got to show you how to get, how I've dealt with it. But as I said, if you don't have God down on the inside, you're not going to be able to put into work what I'm getting ready to tell you. So the secret that I'm getting ready to tell you, if you at that place, okay, God, I really need you, then that's where you need to, oh my God, that's where you need to meet God at, because you're going to need Him to help you with this trauma. You can go to every doctor, every blah, blah, and I'm sure they're going to be able to talk you through it. They can give you some medicine and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, guess what? You still got to deal with it. And that doctor, that lawyer, they done got paid, whatever the case may be. But this is your life. They only can help you with them a few hours out the day. And once you walk out that door, then guess what? You still got to be the one. They got to take this problem home. I got to deal with it. This, doctor, this ain't in your mind. This in mine. So how do I deal with this? Let's go back to the spin. How do I deal with it? Let's look at the spin. How many have ever had I ain't talking on the big, I'm talking about a spinner one and hit your hand and really just make, how many have had a spinner like that? They're just not far from you in a sense. We understand that part, right? That spinner not far from you. Now, right here, you felt that pain of that spinner when it hit, right? Just like when you went through that traumatic experience, you felt that pain, right? You follow what I'm saying? Now, let's look at this here. What happens when you take that spinner out? It's released, but what happens? I'm looking for a certain word. What happens? What did you say? Then the pain go away, but what happens when you take it out? I'm trying to show you something. What happens? You and that spinner have done what? They separated. And now that you and that spinner have separated, the pain is gone. But this is the thing. You can still see the wound, right? You can still see exactly what that spinner, you can still see it, right? But because you and that spinner have now become separated, it don't bother you no more, right? Because y'all have become separated. So what am I saying? Once you separate yourself from this trauma, then the pain, the agony, or the aftermath, it will leave. But the only way that's going to do that is you got to come out of the old man. You're not going to be able to separate yourself from this pain in the old you. It's not going to happen. It's the old you that went through it. Which is why God is trying to bring the new you on the scene. Because the new you hadn't gone through this. The new you has the strength, knowledge, and understanding to separate. Now, why is it so important to be able to see it, the wound, but not feel it? to understand something. You're not going to ever, unless God does something in your mind, and I've been asking this for over a decade, so I'm almost sure it ain't happen. You're not going to ever forget what you done went through. You're not going to ever forget. I can tell you exactly what I went through. Like, line upon line, I can tell you detailed house, where, why? Because unless God takes it away, you're not going to ever forget it. But just like that splinter hit my hand, and I can take it out, guess what? I can still see it. I can still see that wound. So you're going to always be able to see the wound. But once you become separated from that wound, that's a wrap. That splinter, or the pain from that splinter, or the aftermath, or whatever the case may be, it's not going to ever bother you again. Because now that you become separate. Okay, let's put it to the test. Everybody in here that said, I had a splinter before. How many still feel the pain? Anybody? Anybody still feel the pain in that splinter? Why? Because it's been separate. And we ain't together no more. Okay, let's go to that person. I'm trying to make you cry, but what he did, let's go to that person. How many still feel the pain from the trauma? How many still feel it? Does it still affect me? Does it still bother me? Does it still cause me to do this and do that? Why? Because you and it are still what? Y'all still together. And as long as y'all still together, as long as y'all still together, it's going to always bother you. It's going to always make you uncomfortable. It's going to always aggravate you. It's going to always nag. So the only thing you have to do, you got to separate from this issue. You got to separate from this trauma. You got to separate from this pain. And as I told you, you're not going to ever forget. Trust me, I done tried. God, I wish I could just forget what he did was, you're not going to ever forget. But I'm separated from it now. And now because I'm separated, this is going to help you out. Now that I'm separated from it, when it rises up or when it tries to come, guess what? I see it. See, that's the thing. The only way you're going to be able to see it, you got to be separate. See, if it rises up and you still connected to it, then you can't see it. The only thing that's going to happen when it does rise, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your mind, your thoughts, your feelings. Why? Because you still connected. But once you separate yourself from it, then you're going to be able to see it a mile away. Oh, I see it. Oh, I see your thoughts. I see where you're trying to go. I see what you're trying to do. And because I don't have no more connection to you, then ain't nothing happening. Ain't nothing shaking. But see, the only way I'm able to do that is through that new mind of mine. Through that new person of mine. Because see, the old person, you wouldn't be able to do that. Because that's the old person is the one that's still wounded. The one that's still affected by it. The one that could have been out in the streets and blah, blah, blah. That's the old man. But see, now that I've really been born again, and now that I'm really raising up the new man can see it a mile away. And don't get me wrong. It's not going to stop coming. It ain't going to stop coming. Whatever you've gone through, it's going to still try to show up. It's going to still try to have its effect on you. But the only way you're going to win, you're going to have to be separated from it. And once you really separate yourself from it, I promise you, if it don't work, come back and tell me it didn't work. But I promise you, it's going to work. But the only way that it's going to work, you're going to have to separate yourself from it. It's going to have to be a divine, supernatural separation. And like I say, if you at that place, okay, God, I really need you, then I promise you, That's where you need to meet God at. Because, let me tell you, and I think I'm done this, you ain't finna do this on your own. I can pray all day for you. I can send you to the Bible and let you read from Genesis to Revelation. I put you in the corner and say, read. Ain't finna help. I'm talking divine healing. I'm talking divine assistance. I'm talking divine deliverance. You will need God to help you with this. Don't get me wrong, like I said, I ain't taking that away from the doctors and all. I want to tell you what God showed me, or what God taught me. Because just as you've been through some, I've been through some. Just like you had a traumatic experience that altered the very mindset in that area, I've been through that. So I know exactly how that feels. I know exactly what happened. But I'm trying to tell you, the only way or the only thing that brought me through it was God's way. I trust Him more than I'm saying. I'm going to say the doctors don't know what they talk about, and the psychologists and all. I'm going to say they don't know what they talk about. But they know some things, they train some things, and they probably can help you through it. They probably can ease your pain a little bit. They probably can walk you. But I don't want to be walked through it. I don't want the pain to be eased. I don't want them that 4 or 5 hours I sit on your couch be the only time I have a peace of mind. I don't want that. No, I want this thing done. I want it gone. I want the pain, the effect, I want all of that gone. If I can get to the point where it can be wiped from my mind, then ask me. He ain't doing it. But everything else is done. I can sit in a room with the same fellas, or the same brothers, men, whatever you want to say, that did the very stuff to me. I can sit right there in the room, right across the table from them. I can shake hands and I can still minister to them the gospel of Jesus Christ. The very ones that had a part in changing my life forever. Why? Because it's gone. The steam is gone. The power of it is gone. And nothing else there. Why do you think it's so easy? I can freely talk about it. Why? Because it's gone. Yeah, I'm a full grown man. Been a grown man for many years now. And yes, I've gone through that. But it has no more effect on my life. None. There is no sign of homosexuality, no entertainment, none of that. Because it's gone. I've been through it. But it's gone. I've been held about it, man. But it's gone. And I can talk about it easily. Because it don't bother me. To me, it's more of a testimony to somebody else. But my point to you tonight is giving you the key as to how I dealt with it. And how I still deal with it. Because you ain't up for it. I wish I could. I wish I could just wipe some stuff away to where I. The only one that can do that is God. And unless He do it, you will always remember. But ask yourself, am I tired of the sting? Am I tired of it bothering me? Just like that splinter. See, when that splinter was in your hand, it was aggravating. It was getting on your nerve. You guys are, man, bro, look, if I gotta go get my finger cut, this thing getting on my nerve. You gotta get that same way about this spiritual strength, about this spiritual trauma. You gotta get that same mind. Bro, look, I am so sick and tired. And sometimes splinters can be so small, and they can be the ones that cause the most pain. See, them big ones, you pull them out and be gone. But the little bitty fine that get up in there, man, them be one that just get on your last nerve. How about you have that same mindset towards this trauma? Has it gotten on your last nerve? Are you tired of it? And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to pump, I'm telling you my mindset. I got tired of it. Just in my walk, I got tired was one of my teachers from the 9th grade. He took me in. He used to give me money. Mother Bear can call his name. He used to give me money, want to help me buy my school clothes, and did all these fine things for me. And here I'm thinking, he just see a poor child that need help. Oh, but once I graduated, and I never said this on your voice, come on, I said, oh, but once I graduated and went to the military, oh, Mother Bear, when I came home, oh, his motor was on the table, then he put a plain, you know what I'm talking about, he put a clean, I honestly think he begged gone, now God rest his soul, but when I came home from the military, oh, he put his plan on the table, and his exact words was to me, Mother Bear, you know I never touched you in high school. I waited until you became legal age. Oh, he told me. And when I say he used to take care of me, Mother Bear, when I need a uniform, and when I'm Mother Bear, he used to take care of me. Did everything. I'm like, finally somebody see that I'm a poor child that needs some help. And all through high school, he was there. Prom, tuxedo, running shoes, he did all of that. And I really, really thought he was there for me, like, because I was a very unfortunate child. My Mother Bear, she had 5 kids, and I was that one that she just could not do for. She was able to do for the girls, but she just couldn't do for them boys. And I thought my whole high school year, you know, God, I really, when I came home, his words. I couldn't message you when we was in high school, but you grown now, so they ain't gonna do nothing to me. Are you serious? Let's go in the bedroom. I'm showing what you know. Like, what? Serious? Are you serious? Here I am thinking you for me, but the whole while you plotting against me. So I've been through it. So I noticed, like, to really have your life just toe up in a certain area of your mind. But I'm here to tell you, God is able. God is able. That's if, I'm done, sister. That's if you're really tired of the